What's up, everybody? It's been about a week since I've uploaded a video. That's the longest I've gone without posting since I started this channel last year. And that's because I have a very big announcement, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But I think I have a pretty exciting video for you guys today. I want to talk a little bit about a sector that I think is interesting, that I'm definitely bullish on long term. I also have a few specific stocks that I think could be interesting ways to bet on this thesis. And I know many of you out there like these industry overviews. I know some of you found my channel when back at the end of July, I posted my overview of just the health insurance industry and why I was bullish on a lot of the major names. That thesis has played out very well. UNH, Elevance, Centene, and recently Molina are up very strongly from their lows. And by the way, I own all these companies. They've all been winners for us, and we'll do updates on them very soon because they're going to report earnings. UNH and Elevance, the two big players here, they report earnings this week. Molina and Centene, the big players in Medicaid, they report earnings next week. So we'll definitely take a look at all that. That's not the theme for today's video. I have a new industry that I want to talk to you all about, but I want to tell you why I haven't posted a video for a week, and it's because last week my wife gave birth to our first child. We had a little girl. She is beautiful and incredibly healthy. My wife is doing great also. We couldn't be happier. It is just an amazing feeling. And for me also, it was just a reminder of why we do this and the value of investing, the value of wealth and managing risk reward. Personally, investing has given me so many options in life. I have the option to just take weeks and spend it with my wife and my daughter. I don't have to work another job. We have the option to buy what we need and not worry about whether it's going to, break the bank for us. We simply have the option to enjoy our time and not worry about the stress of money. And that's probably one of the most important things that investing has given me. But enough about that. You don't watch this channel to hear about my life. You're probably looking for some value in the market today, and I want to talk about the natural gas industry. I'm pretty bullish long-term on natural gas. I hope the idea of talking about energy doesn't bore you because I think there's a lot of money that will be made here. Long-term, the demand for natural gas is almost certainly going to go up. First, just to give you the simple thesis on energy as a whole, and then we'll get into why specifically natural gas. Energy demand is going to go up, not just because the population of the world is going to keep increasing. I mean, the world population is growing by lower rates than it has in the past, but it's still going up. But it's not really population increase that's going to primarily drive energy consumption going forward. As the GDP per capita of the world goes up, pretty much energy consumption per capita goes up in lockstep. We've seen this in places like China, where decades ago, the majority of the country used to be in poverty. And then as the GDP exploded and China's middle class grew, their energy consumption per capita increased dramatically. Now we're seeing the same thing in India, Latin America, and Africa. Over the next few decades, I think GDP per capita of all these places is likely to increase, and energy consumption as well per capita. It's just going to go up and to the right. In the US, we're also going to have a significant increase in energy demand from all these AI data centers. A natural question is, where is all this energy going to come from? What supply sources are really going to increase over the next few decades? Now, currently, the biggest source of energy supply is from oil, and that's followed by natural gas and coal, which are, currently pretty similar. And everything else is fairly far behind. You have nuclear, you have all your renewables like wind and solar. And if I were to guess, I think that all of these sources are likely to increase in absolute supply over time, maybe with the exception of coal. But in the next decade or two, the biggest increase in terms of the absolute value, not the relative value, is, in my opinion, going to come from natural gas. And the reason is pretty simple. The world wants relatively affordable energy that is dependable and can be used for baseload power. You cannot rely on renewables like wind and solar for baseload power. What happens when the wind stops blowing? Are you going to have two energy systems? You're going to have a renewable system, and then you're going to have a backup system based on maybe natural gas or hydrocarbons in some way. That doesn't really work for many places around the world. And when you look at these energy sources and you ask which ones of these give dependable baseload power, you're down to natural gas, oil, and coal. Those are the hydrocarbons, meaning that, these are essentially molecules that are made up of mostly hydrogen and carbon. Coal also has some other stuff in there, but let's not get sidetracked with that. You're down to the hydrocarbons and nuclear. Now, nuclear facilities are expensive, they take a long time to build, and many people are simply not comfortable with the risk of a nuclear power plant. Here in the US, we essentially have no nuclear projects that are being built right now. Again, I think nuclear power is going to increase over time, but we're just so far away from it being, say 15% of global energy supply. That's just not happening in the next couple decades. And among the hydrocarbons, natural gas, oil, and coal, there's been a trend of, as a percentage, less coal energy and more natural gas energy. And that trend is going to continue going forward. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, natural gas is much cleaner than oil and coal. And that's why, especially in the West, we've leaned more into natural gas use. Now, if you want a quick chemical reason for why that is, natural gas is mostly methane. Methane, there's just one carbon atom here, and there's 4 hydrogens. So 4 hydrogens to 1 carbon. Now, when you burn this with oxygen, the energy content is related to basically the carbon-hydrogen bonds here, whereas the pollution, the carbon dioxide byproduct, is related to just the amount of carbon. So if you want more energy for less carbon dioxide, you want a higher ratio of hydrogen to carbon. And while that ratio is 4-to-1 for natural gas, for oil or some oil products like diesel, gasoline, kerosene, stuff like that, jet fuel, you have these much longer hydrocarbon chains. To just look at octane here as a longer hydrocarbon chain, you see octane, you have 8 carbons, hence the name octane. And as far as the number of hydrogens, you have 18. So hydrogens to carbon is just above 2. You get less energy for the same amount of pollution. And for coal, this ratio of hydrogen to carbon is typically less than 1-to-1. So coal, as far as that energy to pollution ratio, it's an even dirtier energy source. So that's one reason why there's going to continue to be pressure to shift towards natural gas. But the other reason is simply natural gas is cheap. Per unit of energy, gas is way cheaper than oil. A barrel of oil, which is about $60 right now, contains about 5.8 million BTUs of energy. If you're in the US, you see by this gold line here, over the past couple years, 1 million BTUs of energy worth of natural gas, that's roughly cost it, let's say $3-ish on average. So to get that same 5.8 million BTUs that you get from a barrel of oil, if you were in the US and you were buying that energy in natural gas, you'd pay, probably less than $20 for it. And in some places like Canada, gas has often been even cheaper. So natural question is, why has gas been so cheap? And why might that be different going forward? Well, let me answer that first question. Oil has some pretty big advantages over natural gas. It's really easy to store. You can put it in a barrel. It's easy to move. You can move that barrel. You can put it in a big tanker ship on the ocean and sail it over to some other country. So because of that, you're not going to have the case where a barrel of oil in Europe is just triple the price of what it is in the US. However, with natural gas, not so easy to transport it around. If you're watching this in Europe, you might say, hey, natural gas, pretty expensive over here. And indeed, it's the case that the exact same product over in Europe is trading for multiples of what it trades for in the US. Because you can't transport it around so easily, natural gas prices have been subject to, whatever the local supply demand conditions are in the geography that you're looking at. Now, why is that going to be different going forward? Well, we're building on more and more of these LNG facilities. LNG stands for liquefied natural gas. And the idea is, well, what if we could transport this natural gas to Europe? If you could do that easily, then you would expect these prices here to start to converge over time. So we've built facilities that turn this gas into a liquid. Then you can put it in a specialized ship that can take this liquid over to somewhere else where it will be regasified, and then you can use it as energy. And over the next 5 to 10 years, the LNG export capacity in just the US alone is going to double. There's not huge growth in 2026, so this isn't necessarily going to happen tomorrow. But as LNG exports increase from the US, the expensive prices of gas around the world is going to pull up the US gas prices. And similarly, as exports from the US increase, that will probably bring some downward pressure on gas prices in Europe and Asia. I think in the US, this increase in gas demand from all the AI data centers we're building here and also all this LNG export capacity that we're creating, it's, in my opinion, extremely likely that gas prices are going up over the next 5 to 10 years. And if you believe that, if you hold this thesis, there's a lot of ideas that start to look very interesting. A lot of stocks, a lot of companies that look like they could be value, deep value even. Now, really quickly, over the last 10 days, gas prices in the US have actually more than doubled due to the crazy storm that is going on over here. That's purely coincidental. This video has nothing to do with this short-term event. You can see what a spike in demand does to gas prices here, but just be aware, once the storm is over, gas prices are likely going to come back down. Over the past 10 years, gas prices have mostly been between $2 and $4. Obviously, we had this spike in 22 with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, but the prices today before this storm, very low, especially once you adjust for inflation. And another reason I should mention why prices of gas have been quite low is gas hasn't been subject to the same, supply-demand dynamics of a lot of other commodities, which is when you have very low prices, the producers can't make money, so they'll stop producing, and then supply will drop. And then as supply gets really low, that will cause prices to then go back up. But you see, the thing with natural gas is a lot of the natural gas in the US is simply a byproduct of drilling for oil. When you drill an oil well, it's not just liquid that comes out of the ground. You also get some natural gas. That natural gas percentage could be high or low depending on the well, but basically you have a lot of oil producers that are drilling for oil, and they just, as a byproduct, have been producing a ton of natural gas. Now, however, US oil production, which has really just been on a tear for the past decade, it is rolling over. Production in the US is likely peaking and will probably gradually decline going forward, especially at current oil prices. So all of this is bullish for natural gas, not necessarily over the next year, but certainly in the long term. I think there's a lot of money to be made here. When you start thinking about what the profits of US natural gas producers look like under different natural gas price environments, certain companies start to look very exciting. In terms of production, Expand Energy is the largest natural gas producer in the US, and at $3 natural gas, the earnings of this company are not great. But when you think about the possibility of gas going to $4 and then $5 here in the US and maybe higher, then all of a sudden, when you project out the cash flow for a company like Expand, it starts to look interesting. And this is just the biggest natural gas producer that I'm using as an example. I don't want this video to get too long, so I think I might present a more niche, smaller stock that I think really could benefit in a rising natural gas environment in a future video. It's a small company trading for an enterprise value of less than 3 times EBITDA, and they're sitting on quite a decent amount of acreage, a decent amount of land for the price that you're actually paying for it. I think it's looking like deep value, but I'll present that in a follow-up video. So I think we'll wrap it up here. If you got value out of this video, subscribe to the channel. If you wish to support what I do, grab my Google Sheets template, make spreadsheets like the ones that I show in a lot of my other videos. Then consider following me on Patreon. You'll also get access to my Discord. I'd be interested to hear what you all think about natural gas and energy, and I hope to see you all in another video.